It's hard to really keep up with this channel because I really don't have any viewers. It's almost like I'm still trying to prove that. I guess, well, okay, so my main thing with the channel originally was because I was doing the conspiracy group. I was in that with the true love kind of group and was basically ostracized for actually being free thinking, which is the irony of it. The irony that I dare to question a little bit of the conspiracy theory, like just a little bit. Let's like dial this back, and not to rehash with True Love, but it was like I kind of sensed that she was um very inconsistent, like back and forth on certain things. Like for example, I would joke and say I remember saying that the vaccine was probably even just like water, like it wasn't actually anything. And then she even agreed with that. But then when I talk about like getting the vaccine is not a big deal, then it became a big deal, you know? So it's like contradictory because like how can the vaccine be a big deal when it's just water? You told me you agreed with that, like that's a possibility. Like that to me is being free thinking. And then saying you know, that therefore then why not get it? Well, it's like, oh wait, don't get it. So she just had contradictory things like that happen. So anyway, I so yeah, I feel like I'm just doing videos now to prove that I'm not someone to deceive or something, I guess. Um but I also think it's cathartic for me to talk about my beliefs and just to get it out there. It's something I used to do on another channel many years ago. Just stuff like philosophy, psychology, self-help, well-being type of stuff. It's kind of like just nice to put it out there, and if anyone stumbles upon it, but no one seems to stumble upon my channel anyway. Um, so if I end up stopping, it's because of that. It's because there's not really an outlet. And I'm not gonna waste my time even just doing a video like this and uploading it um, when there's no activity at all and there's not even a way for me to share it. Like, what really is the point? I think I have a lot to offer. I think I have a unique perspective that's always seemed different than every single person I've ever met. And I think it's very helpful. I've had people say it's helpful. It's helped me. It has seriously helped me have a peace of mind in my life at the age of 35 to figure out, who I am and where I'm going and what this world is and the purpose of life and things like that. Stuff that, I never thought I would be at. And I think it, like I said, I think it helps people. I've heard it has. Um, I'm talking about now and in the past when I used to do it. Um, and I really like doing it. But things are so different on YouTube. Like back in the late 2000s when I did it, basically, stuff like this could be found. Now you can't find it. Like if you try to search it, you're just never gonna find it. So that is just my short rant, basically. So you don't really see any videos. It's because of that. It's because like I'm not gonna do videos to prove that I'm not a deceiver. Because it's like, oh, he's a deceiver because he stopped making videos. So you called him out, and it's like, no, because that I felt like was a community that I was in and I liked, but I'm like, that whole thing that happened. When the fuck that happened? Like months ago. Um, just oh yeah, it was back in November because it was because I had COVID, and then we had a couple email exchanges that were like heated, and she was like, you had the flu, and it was you had a bad cold, and it's like, yeah, I said that to everyone else, but it's like you have to, if you're a truther, you have to take all information into account. And it was just so baffling to me that I had spent nearly probably 3 years, I think, with her, watching her, commenting to her, joining her Discord, sharing stuff, and this channel with my face out there. And she was, semi receptive. I could always see that she was always skeptical. But she at least watched some of my stuff, responded to some of it. We talked here and there. She helped me through the beginning of COVID and not to feel alone and so isolated. But she did all this isolation. She immediately blocked me and called me a deceiver for just saying like I went through COVID, and I can say at least like it's a real experience. It doesn't mean that I approve a vaccine. It doesn't mean I approve mandates. It really doesn't mean that. And to actually go through it and face it and still say like I don't approve of the mandates, and here's the reasons why, gives me, I think, more credibility. But it you can get so like, just like anything else, you can get too in your head about it, and these people have gotten in their head that COVID is not real. And so I don't know if she or other people, but you'll eventually probably get it. um I had the classic signs of it, the biggest of which, I don't, I know the tests are kind of faulty sometimes, but the biggest of which was I had 2 months I basically didn't have taste and smell. You don't get that with flu, you don't get that with a regular cold, you just don't. It was a completely different experience than anything I've had with a sickness, you know. So, yeah, so I had that classic sign, which I always said was people were delusional, because I do think that with a certain level of anxiety, yeah, you're trying to control your sense of smell too much, you can definitely throw off your natural scent abilities for a little bit, but not to that extent, not to the extent that it happened, and how it took slowly to gain back, and it took 2 months to kind of feel like, okay, I've gained this all back, because it was like just after New Year's where I felt confident, like, okay, I think I have normal taste and smell now. So, and it doesn't mean, just because it's a real sickness, it doesn't mean that, like, yeah, we landed on the moon, it doesn't mean that the earth is round, it doesn't mean, you know what other conspiracy theories, it doesn't mean that chemtrails aren't real, or, it doesn't mean. And that's what that felt like, oh my god, we can't even consider that this is a virus. And it's like, and what also got me, one of her inconsistencies towards the end was like, um, she even said how, I think her name was Amanda Vollmer. I gotta look her up if she's still doing videos. But Amanda Vollmer was saying all this stuff like she was anti-vax, and she was saying like colds are just detoxing your body, and it's not a cold that you can catch. And I'm all for that type of a discussion. um, I personally don't. I do think that you can catch these things. I've seen it too much in my life. You get a cold, and then you run into someone, and all of a sudden you got it. You know, but I'm okay with having conversations that are like about that. But she even said that this Amanda Vollmer was a shill, that she wasn't for real. She said it in her Discord. And then when I talked about it in my video, that was one of the things in the email that True Love said, that like, you have to be willing to question those type of things. That's my cat's feet are going off. So that means I've done this video too long. But like that was just another inconsistency, that basically she was saying Amanda Vollmer is a shill, and then saying that like she's right, that because I shouldn't be just saying like, well, a cold is a cold, like you'll catch it, you know. It's like, no, if you can provide better evidence. But you know when I got COVID and then 2 days later my parents got it, you know, and I live with them, and I did try to prevent that from happening. And it's just, I've seen it time and time, and you can catch whatever. But that doesn't mean that ends the whole discussion. It could be also that you can get colds just spontaneously from, you know, detoxing too. Both can be true. People are uncomfortable with the idea that traditional things that seem mutually exclusive, that actually seem like, or not, I always get that phrase wrong, but like, that two things should be opposing, when really, when you step back and realize, no, they don't actually oppose each other. They both can happen or not happen at the same time, and people are very uncomfortable with that, which is one of those unique perspectives I think that you never really hear people talk about. It's one of my pillars of what I, oh wait, pillar might be a key word of it. conspiracy, because that's what they do. They like look at your video and they look at the your hand symbols, and they look at, the words in like a pillar. That's a weird word to use to break it down. So it's just like, I know I'm real. I know I don't know what to tell you. So but that's just my rant.